basically don't ever get hit by the turret. Like we just... Oh, missed me. No, oh. It doesn't even bother rotating anymore. What's up, guys? My name is Khan, and we're back today with more Trailmakers. Now, I know we don't normally play a lot of Trailmakers on the channel, but the devs have finally added a block which I think will just completely change that and really change the amount of things we can do in Trailmakers and really make it that much more exciting. And that is, of course, logic blocks. The devs have added this entire new section here with logic blocks, and they have the AND gate, the OR gate, and the XOR gate, as well as an awesome distance sensor. So just like in Scrap Mechanic, we can now set a sensor with a range between 0 and 50, which is fantastic. We can also have an AND gate, an OR gate, and an XOR gate, which is awesome. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Con, in Scrap Mechanic, you also have 3 more gates, the NOT versions of the gates, and that's true, but in Trailmakers, you can actually still do the same thing. You can actually make a NOT gate using XOR gates. It's not extremely difficult, but it is possible. There also is the ability in Trailmakers to do the toggle, as well as add timing delays built into each individual gate. So rather than have timers, you could kind of do the same thing with timers just by adjusting these. We've got a delay start, seconds to stay active, and then a delay before it resets its active time. So you can use all that to kind of make timing type mechanisms and that sort of thing. But we can do pretty much everything that you can do with Scrap Mechanic logic with Trailmakers logic. So for example, you know, if you want memory, it's actually really easy to do memory in Trailmakers. Normally, because we don't have any NOT gates, you would do triple XOR gate memory. So you'd have 3 XOR gates, you know, stacked on top of each other like this, and we'd connect them all into each other in a series. So this one, we configure it, we connect it to the next one below it. This one, we configure it, connect it to the next one below it. This one, we configure it and connect it back up to the top. So now we've created an XOR gate loop. And if we put a sensor down here, hopefully that's in the right position. Sensors can only sense the player's head or body, so you can't have it aiming at your legs. But if we put a sensor here as, let's say, the activation sensor, let's give it a distance of 5. And this sensor feeds into all 3 gates simultaneously. Then, in fact, these gates will light up all at once when you walk in front of the sensor. Just like you can do with Scrap Mechanic with XOR memory. It's pretty simple stuff. The only disadvantage with this is you have to be right on the tick rate. So you can see the memory is kind of pulsing. The right arrow on each gate represents the output, and the left arrow represents the input. So you can see all 3 of them are receiving an input, but they're sort of pulsing on the output. But if we get off at just the right time, hold on, let's see if we can. So you gotta get it with the tick rate. There we go. So see, it's perfect with the tick rate there, and boom, all 3 are lit. And then if we go in front of it again and get it at just the right time, we should be able to get it off. And see, this is very difficult because we don't have a tick generator. We'd have to make a tick generator to guarantee that we're only sending a pulse for the specific interval of time. And I was thinking about doing that, but then realized there's actually a much easier way to make memory in Trailmakers, and they've made it completely easy. So you can just put an OR gate down, a single OR gate, and you can put it on the toggle feature. So we just hook this into the gate there. Now, you'll notice there's an output slider. We can slide it between green and red, and between -1 and +1. And if you actually look at the gate itself, the gate has 2 inputs. Every gate does. So the green would power this side and the red would power this side. So you can actually have 2 different logic blocks feeding into one block with 2 different sides of it, which means if you're doing something, for example, with a rotating joint, you don't need to have 2 stacked rotating pieces on top of each other. You can have one rotating piece and 2 different logic blocks that feed it, so it'll rotate in 2 different directions, which is kind of cool. It you know, reduces the number of parts you have to use. But you can see here, now if we walk in front of this, because it's set to toggle mode, now the bit is on, now the bit's off, now the bit's on, now the bit's off, and it's actually glitch free. It's amazing. And if we sit in front of it, it doesn't alternate back and forth. Because it's on toggle, it only triggers once every time you go in front of it, which is just absolutely awesome. So this allows us to make really simple memory. You can see there, on, off, on, off. Isn't that awesome? The fact that we can make memory and the fact that we have those 3 basic gates pretty much allows us to do absolutely anything we want in logic. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of stuff you want to see me make. I definitely want to play more of this game. I mean, with logic blocks, there's just so many automated vehicles. Just like in Scrap Mechanic, we've done all sorts of automated stuff. And Trailmakers, they have submarines as well, and boats, and they've got planes, and they've got hovercraft, and all sorts of different things. So we could make all sorts of automated vehicles. We've also got automated cannons. So yesterday, I went to record a video in Trailmakers, and I was having an issue where I couldn't have a cannon activated with a logic block. And I contacted the devs, and they said this was actually intentionally done because they didn't want people, you know, being aggressive in PvP and making automatic vehicles in PvP. And I'm like, but I want to be aggressive in PvP and make automatic vehicles. So they changed that, they hotfixed it out, and now we can, of course, activate cannons using logic blocks. So I figure what we're gonna do today is build an automated turret. Just a turret we can sit down in the middle of the map somewhere, it'll just rotate around, and as it rotates, it'll just shoot people if it sees them, and then it'll go back to its standard rotation. I think that'll be a good project just to sort of, you know, see how the logic blocks work, and I figured we'd build it together just so you guys can really get an understanding of how the logic blocks wire up in Trailmakers. It's nice because it stays clean. You don't have to look at this really messy connection diagram, but at the same point in time, if you want to see what each part is connected to, you have to click on that part. So there's disadvantages and there's advantages, but you know, it's a different system, but I don't mind it at all. So we're just gonna start by building a really simple turret base. So I figure we'll start with a block here. We need a center block, so we'll do this as a, you know, a nice centerpiece just like that. We'll put this over here, right, and then we'll just copy this over here and back over here. Perfect, just like that. So that'll be our turret base. Gives us a nice little bit of a platform, and then we just need a rotating servo on it, so we can go to our mechanical parts, rotating servo block that can slowly rotate in both directions. Perfect. And we'll just configure this to go between 360 degrees. So the angle is actually kind of like the controller stop point. If you have a controller looped in Scrap Mechanic, we might have to adjust that later, but we'll leave it at 360 for now. We'll see how that goes. We'll drop the speed down to like nothing. Again, we can change all this later, and we'll leave that just simply as green and red. These none buttons, we can set hotkeys for them if we have a seat on this creation. Obviously, we don't have that, so we'll be okay there. And then, you know, we'll put a turret on it. So we'll do, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna do, I think we're gonna want to bring the sensors up one, just to make sure they're at a good height. And I think we want 3 sensors. So we're gonna want one in the middle to determine when to shoot. So if the one in the middle lights up, it shoots. And then one on either side to determine if it's gonna rotate in that particular direction. So if it sees an object on the one side, it'll rotate in that direction. And if it sees an object on the other side, it'll rotate in the other direction, so long as the middle is not lit up. That'll be sort of the way it goes. And we'll see if we can actually make this work. So there we go. We've got a nice sensor grid there. And then we just need to put a turret on this thing. All right, so that's a really simple system. So I think the first thing we can just, you know, we can just hook this into that, right? If we just put the middle sensor into the cannon. Now if we run in front of the middle sensor, oh, right, we got to adjust the ranges on all these things. So we're going to go max range, 50 blocks. Configure this, 50 blocks, perfect, and configure this, 50 blocks, perfect. All right, excellent. So we walk in front of it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you can see that every time we go in front of that, it's just gonna shoot a shot. What if we stand in front of it? Does it keep shooting? It kind of moves every time we shoot, so you can't really tell. Oh yeah, okay, it does. It seems like it does anyways. You know what? We can actually get back here. Get back here. We can test that. Remove this for now, and we'll just put an OR gate and make this into an OR gate memory system. So toggle and have it power that. And this middle sensor here will configure you to power this OR gate. And we'll just see if it activates it. Okay. So I think it's safe to say the cannon will continuously shoot. Can we repair that? That's amazing. Oh boy. Yeah, no, it'll definitely... Okay, so as long as you keep giving it an input, it'll keep shooting. That's sweet. I think we're going to need to put some weight on this thing too, so it doesn't move as much. So let's just get some weighted blocks. I don't know where... Here we go, weighted blocks. 30 kilograms, 50 kilos. That's, you know, so 50 kilos. Let's just put one of these on the end of each foot here, I guess. There we go. That's better. Still gonna move a little bit, but at least now you know it's not aggressively jumping around the map. Okay, perfect. So now we just have to wire up all the movement things, and then I think we're good to go. We're gonna need a memory bit for each side, like to rotate left and rotate right. I think will be different memory bits, and then we need to just figure out how to reset them. And then we also need the center one. I think we're literally just going to leave it so that whenever the center sensor sees an object, it shoots. Because that's the easiest way to do it. Don't worry about like timing it or anything like that. If you see something lined up with your cannon, fire. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of rotating or not rotating. Like that's literally because, you know, as long as the sensor continues to see an object, it'll just keep shooting. So that's just really easy. So this will be the memory bit for the one side. This will be the memory bit for the other side. We'll have it hooked into the servo. And I believe it's on the positive one direction. Perfect. And... oh, it needs to be negative, actually. This one needs to be the negative. Okay. And then this one also hooked into the servo again. and it'll be on the positive direction. So you can see the input, they're both on the green input, so we're gonna feed them with the green side of the logic, but the output is what matters here in this case to change for this one. We could also have, you know, two different sides on the inputs. So again, it's a little bit different to the logic you're used to if you're using the connection tools, but I think it's really, really cool because you can do a lot of stuff with, you know, very few gates. And for example, you can have loops within two gates. So you can have one gate going to another gate, and then that same gate going back to the first gate. We've got our two memory bits there. So now all we need to do is have it when this memory bit, this one triggers this and deactivates that, and this one triggers that and deactivates this. So to do that, we're gonna need a lot of stuff. All right, so if we just wire up the sensors directly into these OR gates, it's not gonna work because what's gonna happen is, so that's fine. Why are you, what do you, oh, are you seeing the wall? Oh man, you can actually, you're seeing the terrain there? Okay, well, let's adjust the sensor a little bit shorter. What's a good range here? Maybe 30, 35? Originally, the devs had the sensor range max at 25 too, and I looked at the range and I asked them, you know, maybe could you guys increase the range just a little bit? It would be kind of nice because there are some times where you'd like a longer range. For example, like a following robot, you'd like a longer range. So let's see how. See, here's the problem, right? So now it's rotating, which is no problem. It'll do that. But I think both, if we look, I think both memory bits are active right now. Yeah, oh no, the one is. Okay, the one that rotates the one direction. Right, and now when we get here, okay, oh, it rotated the other, oh, interesting. See, now both are activated, so they're canceling each other out, so it went back to its default resting position. See, that's the problem. You want it so that if it sees one, it deactivates the other and vice versa, right? That's kind of, so it'll kind of track you a little bit, you know what I mean? So see how depending on how we toggle it. Yeah, oh yeah, that was a little close. Okay, so we're gonna have to play around with this a little bit. We're gonna have to change up these gates just a little bit. Can't have it feed directly in. You need to have it checked so that which ones are active and which ones are deactivated, and change it as a result. All right, so I think what we gotta do is if we do an exclusive OR of the sensor, right? So the sensor is exclusive ORed with its own bit, and so this exclusive OR goes into the AND gate, and the sensor is active, then that means we have to reset this bit. I think that's how it's going to work. You know what? For now, we're just going to deactivate the cannon. Let's just remove that and just check the tracking out. So I think that's going to work. So basically what's going to happen is if we go in front of this here, right, it's going to rotate the bit in this direction. But see, it's never deactivating it. Even if we go in front of it again, it's not deactivating it because it still sees. So perfect. The only thing we want to deactivate it is the other side bit. So if the other bit, the left one there gets lit up, that'll deactivate it. Otherwise, it'll do the same thing. Okay, so perfect. And then we'll do the same setup on this side. So that should work. Now we just need to put the reset side of things. So on the reset side of things, we go this one activated and that one activated, then deactivate that. And this one activated and that one activated, then deactivate that. Like, that's really all we need to do, right? So we just need a simple AND gate. I think we can move it and the connections still stay. I'm pretty sure they all do. That's so awesome. That's such a great feature. All right, so this is an AND gate. This is an AND gate, really simply. So it's this configures to you and this memory bit reset this memory bit. So see, we can wire these to each other in a loop. So again, it's a little bit confusing. You got to really pay attention. You got to think about everything that you're doing just to make sure you don't miss a step. So that's perfect. And then this configure, boom, you and you configure into there means reset you. So this should work. So now if we rotate, if we go in front of it this way, it should start rotating towards us this way, which it does, right? So you can see it's rotating towards us. Fantastic. And if we go in front of it this way, it starts, you can see now it's tracking. Perfect. So every time it goes between one of the two sensors, you can see it alternates back and forth. So now if we go over here, look at that. Look at how amazing that is. Isn't that awesome? So we've just made it essentially a tracking turret in Trailmakers. We go in front of the sensor here. Oh, what? Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Why'd you not reset that bit? It would be nice to be able to click on a block and be like, I could see these are all the inputs for that block, but something's not right with that AND gate because it's not. You know, let's just replace it. Let's just try. Something is weird. I don't understand what's going on there. Okay, so let's try this again. So that AND gate, right, it feeds this memory bit. And that AND gate is only activated if this memory bit is activated and we have that rotation. Because that means we have to. right? Is that correct? So it's rotating that way. Yeah, okay. But now it activated it and didn't deactivate it. So I think I know what the problem is, and I don't know if there's a way for me to fix it really easily, but you can see it is tracking correctly, but the problem is sometimes it doesn't want to reset the bit on the turret. So you can see it's designed to basically pulse between the two conditions, and if we go on the back here, we can actually see it. You can see the one bit's active, and then it deactivates one bit to activate the next bit, but sometimes it doesn't spend long enough on the sensor, and I think the tick rate is a little bit slower than what I'm used to, and so when the sensor only picks up for a little bit, it's not long enough to fully reset the bit, and as a result, you know, sometimes it doesn't reset the bit. So you can see there, it's tracking, but sometimes it's just, you have to be on the sensor for long enough. So I'm not sure if there's an easy way to fix this. It definitely does track you can see. So I think the only thing left to do here is hook up the cannon itself. Let's save this real quick, just so we don't lose it. Let's see how good it is at shooting us. All right, so we gotta run in front of it first to get it activated. Oh, yeah, no, thanks. Thanks, we'll just go, okay, that's okay, so perfect. So let's see how it does here. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, going up and down and doing height would be a whole other thing, but you know, that's I mean, it definitely when you're moving, you know, it can't hit you as well, but I mean, this isn't bad. I mean, you can have deployable turrets now. This is so awesome. I'm so glad the Trailmakers devs finally added logic blocks to this game. I mean, we can have automatic driving vehicles. We can have vehicles that follow you around. Of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. I know we spend a lot of time focusing on logic and different, you know, binary type systems, and definitely can do all that kind of stuff here in Trailmakers. Gonna have to try and make some binary adders and that sort of thing, and do some advanced logic functions. But really, really cool that you can do something really simple just with, you know, a couple sensors, some logic gates, and really make an awesome automatic turret. And look at this thing's great. I mean, look at the accuracy on this. I mean, you know, let's just go out of range of it, right? We're out of range, there we go. So we'll just spawn in a vehicle. The good old volleyball flipper car, here we go. So let's see if we drive slowly past it here. See, it goes back to that resting position again, because right now both bits are active, and the bits are hooked up correctly with that AND gate, but I need to figure out a way to create a tick generator. Oh, that was so fast. Okay, can we go back? Okay. Wow, this is fantastic. Okay, perfect. So yeah, it basically don't ever get hit by the turret. Come on, can we just? Oh, missed me. No, oh. It doesn't even bother rotating anymore. But anyways, guys, let me know, of course, what you think of this build in the comments down below. I'm really excited to play more Trailmakers and really just experience the awesomeness that is Trailmakers. And, you know, definitely going to make a lot more automated vehicles, a lot of following vehicles, a lot of automated attack vehicles for sure. I mean, we could do automated submarines and stuff as well. Don't exactly know how that would go, but I'm sure it'll be a cool idea. I've never tried making an automatic submarine in Scrap Mechanic, but I'm really excited, of course, for Trailmakers, and I hope you guys are too. I really hope that you enjoy all this new logic stuff. Definitely only going to focus on logic creations in Trailmakers, though. I don't really want to focus on too much else. I just want to build stuff that does stuff automatically, because why not? Let's see what we can really do with this game. But of course, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and while you're at it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.